Hey everybody, it's John from Dad Built DIY, and I'm back for this final segment of the DIY Kid Closet project. In this part, I'm going to cover filling gaps, caulking, painting, installing clothes bars, and I'm going to finish up with a final reveal. If you're starting from the beginning, make sure you check out parts 1 and 2 for the full step-by-step on this project. We're almost done with the closet transformation, and I can't wait to show you the finished result. Let's get started. To prep this space for painting, I need to fill any gaps or nail holes and apply caulk to my seams for a professional finish. I start by filling any nail holes in the fascia board and shelf supports with spackling. I use a putty knife to apply the spackling and scrape off any excess. I patched all the nail holes with spackling, and while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and apply wood filler anywhere there are two fascia boards that meet and there's a visible gap or seam. You really want your fascia boards to fit tightly together, but sometimes seams are unavoidable, and that's where the wood filler is going to come in handy. So everything's patched and filled, and we want to get onto caulking, but before we do, we need to give everything a light sanding just to smooth out any roughness created by the spackling or the wood filler. So to do this, I'm going to use a piece of 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to do this by hand. I'm also going to use a shop vac to help me control some of the dust that this creates. This is my daughter's room. Sanding creates a lot of dust, and the shop vac is going to help you control it. Now it's time for my favorite part of any project, caulking. I'm going to be using this white latex caulk with silicone. You'll also need a dripless caulk gun, a couple of rags. I like to have one dry and one wet rag, and you're going to need the most important caulking tool of all, your finger. I know that going back and touching up these little details is such a pain in the ass. It's more filling, more sanding, more time with the shop vac, but the truth is your project is only going to be as good as these little details. A lot of people get into the later stages of a project, they get tired, and that's when they start cutting corners. The difference between a professional looking result and an amateur looking result are these little details. It's a lot of little things that add up to a big thing, and that's why we do it. I'm going to be using a 1.5 inch angle cut brush. This project is going to have a lot of cutting in, so that brush is going to be my best friend. I'm also going to use a roller, and I picked out a smooth roller that's made for cabinets and doors. Okay, let's get started painting. I'm going to do all of my cutting in first with that 1.5 inch angle brush before I move on to the roller. But for both, I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to work my way to the bottom. Now, I'm not the best painter. I'm pretty messy, so I made sure to put on some painting clothes, and I've also made sure that I've got some wet and some dry rags with me at all times. I went with a water-based acrylic alkyd paint in satin finish. No tint, just an extra white base. This is an enamel paint, so it's going to create this like hard shell on the outer surface of the closet, which is exactly what we want. My daughter's going to use this closet daily. She's going to be putting stuff on, taking things off of the shelves, and we want to make sure that the finish is very durable and is going to stand up over time, and that's why I chose this. Now, it is a little bit more expensive, but paint is one of those things where I find you get what you pay for. I've often found that you get a better result using less of a higher quality paint than you would if you were using a cheaper, lower quality paint. Okay, I'm all cut in, and now it's time to start rolling. I'm going to do it the same way, starting from the top and working my way to the bottom. first coat of paint is dry, and now I'm gonna go through and look for any imperfections that I can take care of. I'll be looking for drips or rough spots, really any area that just doesn't look right. I can address that issue now in between coats. Then I'm gonna go over the entire closet with some 220 grit sandpaper. This will just be a light sanding. At this point, I can move on to applying a second and third coat of paint by just repeating the same alternating steps. Sand and prep, and then paint. Next up, we're going to cut and hang our clothes bars. The final step of our project is going to be to cut and install our clothes bars. Now I picked up these matte black clothes bars from an online supplier. They come in 94-inch lengths, which is perfect for us to be able to cut down to size and install in our closet. Alright, so we got the clothes bar cut, and now we want to fit it in to the space. And it fits nicely. You want to cut these with a little bit of wiggle room in the clothes bars. You don't want to cut it the exact width of the closet because it's fine for it to have a little bit of room to move. And it's going to sit in this little bracket here. Here's a quick tip. I make a spacer from a scrap piece of wood and I mark a line exactly where I want that bracket to go. Then I can hold that spacer up against the fascia board and draw the exact same line on both sides. This is going to help me ensure that the clothes bars are not only level but also at a uniform depth. Now I just need to repeat this process for all 4 spaces. I install a bracket on each side, drop in a clothes bar, and then I use a small string level to check the level of each bar. And we're all finished. Let's get this closet put back together. Thank you so much for joining me on this project. I hope you found the step-by-step process helpful. If you decide to tackle a project like this in your home, be sure to share your experience and results with me. I'd love to see what other dads are doing. And one last thing, if you took anything away from this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Dad Built DIY for more videos like this one. Hit me with any questions or suggestions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.